Welcome to Daily Scripture Reading. These are scriptures on humility. I do not own the rights to this music. Luke chapter 14, verses 1 through 11. I will read both the King James Version and the Amplified Version. And it came to pass, as he went into the house of one of the chief Pharisees to eat bread on the Sabbath day, that they watched him. And behold, there was a certain man before him which had the dropsy. And Jesus answering spake unto the lawyers and Pharisees, saying, Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath day? And they held their peace. And he took him and healed him, and let him go. And answered them, saying, Which of you shall have a donkey or an ox fallen into a pit, and will not straightway pull him out on the Sabbath day? And they could not answer him again to these things. And he put forth a parable to those which were bidden, when he marked how they chose out the chief rooms, saying unto them, When thou art bidden of any man to a wedding, sit not down in the highest room, lest a more honorable man than thou be bidden of him. And he that bade thee and him come and say to thee, Give this man place, and thou begin with shame to take the lowest room. But when thou art bidden, go and sit down in the lowest room, that when he that bade thee cometh, he may say unto thee, Friend, go up higher. Then shalt thou have worship in the presence of them that sit at meat with thee. For whosoever exalteth himself shall be abased, and he that humbleth himself shall be exalted. The Amplified Version of Luke chapter 14, verses 1 through 11. Jesus heals on the Sabbath. It happened one Sabbath, when he went for a meal at the house of one of the ruling Pharisees, that they were watching him closely and carefully, hoping to entrap him. And there in front of him was a man who had dropsy, extreme swelling. And Jesus asked the lawyers and the Pharisees, Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath or not? But they kept silent. Then he took hold of the man and healed him, and sent him on his way. Then he said to them, Which one of you, having a son or ox that falls into a well, will not immediately pull him out on the Sabbath day? And they were unable to reply to this. Parable of the guest. Now Jesus began telling a parable to the invited guest, when he noticed how they had been selecting the places of honor at the table, saying to them, When you are invited by someone to a wedding feast, do not sit down to eat at the place of honor, since a more distinguished person than you may have been invited by the host. And he who invited both of you will come and say to you, Give this man your place, and then in disgrace you proceed to take the last place. But when you are invited, go and sit down to eat at the last place, so that when your host comes, he will say to you, Friend, move up higher, and then you will be honored in the presence of all who are at the table with you. For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled before others, and he who habitually humbles himself, keeps a realistic self-view, will be exalted. The end. God bless you, and thank you for joining me today.